Hi, I'm Rich Santos, Group Publisher of WealthManagement.com, the digital resource for rep and trust and estates. With me today is David Sleeman. He's a director with the Winston Art Group here in New York. David, thanks for taking time to meet with us.
Well, thank you, Rich, for this opportunity.
Our pleasure. David, you know, there's a lot going on in the art world. Very recently, the Knoedler Gallery has created quite a stir with a debacle over there, but I know that art and its various collectibles are becoming a increasingly large part of a high net worth client's assets. Can you talk a little bit about what particular areas you see growth in with regard to that?
Absolutely. I think over the last decade or so, in spite of some of the turmoil that we've seen in the stock and equity markets, we've seen that art, as you say, has become an increasingly large segment of individuals' asset allocation. In recent years, we've certainly seen meteoric rises in the value of collectibles such as wine, stamps, coins. Classic Ferraris are doing particularly well. In fact, one sold for $30 million at Pebble Beach.
Wow.
Only a few weeks ago.
I would think Ferraris would always do well.
Well, indeed. And so, yes, I think one has seen a great deal of appreciation in art values, and it has led to, I think, individuals really needing to get specialist advice.
So along those lines, what kind of asset management do they need for these pieces of works?
Well, art is certainly an asset that has some individual characteristics. Mm-hmm. One needs to obviously look after and maintain works of art, whether it be storing wine in the appropriate conditions, whether it be having furniture maintained and nurtured, and so it's important for collectors to have an art advisor or a curator to assist them in maintaining a collection. Mm-hmm. From a wealth preservation standpoint, what we're seeing is that we're seeing a propensity for specialist insurance companies to come into the fray to advise clients on how to protect and not just the asset but the financial investment that collections represent.
So are you seeing a proliferation of specialists in all the different areas?
Absolutely. Insurance is one. From a tax planning standpoint, we're seeing a lot of specialist art attorneys coming into the mix who are advising clients on estate planning, mm-hmm. On philanthropic initiatives that may assist a client in minimizing their tax exposure as it relates to their art collections. We're also seeing the financial institutions coming into the mix. Art is now, it's a term that the art world perhaps doesn't necessarily feel is sensitive, but art is an asset. And
Indeed.
As such, we're seeing banks are increasingly willing to loan money against art as collateral. And that's certainly that's an increasingly, that's a growth element to the art market at this point.
So with what's recently happened at the Knoedler Gallery, that debacle, how does a wealth manager protect their client from being caught in a situation where they went to a reputable gallery and they land up buying a forgery? Can you highlight a couple of things that they should be aware of?
Well, I think what's interesting is that an individual wouldn't necessarily buy a piece of real estate or a home without having an engineer conduct a report. You wouldn't necessarily, coming back to our Ferraris, you wouldn't buy a 1960s Ferrari without having a mechanic look it over, make mm-hmm. sure that it is in fact authentic, that the serial numbers from the engines match the chassis, which match the body.
Indeed.
So it seems unusual that individuals wouldn't get an independent advisor to give a third-party objective opinion before making a substantial investment in a work of art. And I think that really is the
Very
point.
good. I'm assuming that's a service that the Winston Art Group does provide?
Absolutely. It's at the Winston Art Group, that's a growing area of our business. I think that the appraisal and art advisory business had in the past been something of a reactive business. We were responding to a need, so in the event that something was damaged or lost, an appraisal would be done to establish loss of value. In the event that a taxable event might take place, again, a valuation was commissioned. What we're seeing now is clients becoming more proactive and actually engaging the counsel of my colleagues at the Winston Art Group in whatever particular area of expertise it is to get sound objective advice before making a decision rather than
Very good.
after the fact.
Sound advice. David, thank you again. David Sleeman, Director of the Winston Art Group here in New York City. Thanks for taking time.
Thank you, Rich.